Here's your forecast from the First Alert Weather Team.
10 minutes after 5 o'clock on this Thursday, Juneteenth. Let's talk temperature perspective. Another 90-degree day yesterday. We got plenty of them to come this summer for sure. The warmest temp of the year so far, 93. We did that a couple days ago. We also did it back on June 7th. 90 plus is our average from the end of June all the way through the 1st of August. So like I said, get used to it. We got plenty more to come. Yesterday's 92-degree high put us at 9 90-degree days so far in 2025. 45 is about the normal. Obviously, we've got some years that we really exceed that. Will it happen again? I got plenty of 90s, I can tell you, in the extended forecast. So signs are pointing to, hey, it could happen. So a good day to cool off maybe at your local watering hole. And I mean that literally, hole in the ground with water, like the pool. It's the way to go about it. Upper 80s, lower 90s, those heat index values likely swelling above 100, but I think falling short of that magic number 105, that feels like magic number of 105, that would trigger a heat advisory from the National Weather Service. So don't let that completely fool you, though. It's still going to be plenty hot outside. Going to need to take the breaks, of course, here and there. Lower 90s to 70s tonight. I think we'll have a better chance of seeing some post-sunset showers and thunderstorms with the approach of a front. That said, I think sounds of summer looking pretty good tonight. Of course, we've got Franz fans going on today and tomorrow. There's a lot going on here, folks. And overall, I think we'll be able to dodge the showers, but a few isolated cells we're going to have to keep a close eye on. You could do the same, of course, with your WECT First Alert weather app. Easy Pro Express, First Alert Skycam, high top the Murkison building. Ooh, it is muggy out there, folks. 79 degrees, so we're just barely below 80. It feels like 82 with a dew point of 72. Southwesterlies continuing on for us as we take you through the rest of the afternoon. We'll start to hear around 3 o'clock, close to peak heating of the day. At that point, sea breeze rolling in, may have 1 or 2 showers to keep the things a little cooler, but gradually you're going to notice some of those higher temps farther inland. Here comes a front that could bring about a couple of showers. So brief change to some northwesterlies on land. 70s there, 80s still remaining along the coast. In red, your heat index values, so what it feels to the skin. We'll talk more about heat index and the specifics of that a little later on in the broadcast, but we show you the numbers for now. Lower and middle 70s, feeling like 80 first thing tomorrow morning. And while air temps will be slightly cooler, it's still going to feel much warmer than that posted air temperature. Likely some spots in the lower 90s as far as what it feels like, maybe even mid to upper 90s. It's all going to depend on showers and storms, but a little bit of a relief from the heat for the time being before things begin to change once more. First Alert Digital Doppler, nice and quiet for you here across the Carolinas, much the same. A few showers here and there that have gradually weakened over the last hour or so. Let's take you forward and find some of those pop-up rain and storm chances, mainly triggered along the sea breeze front. So here we go. They're on lunchtime, looking pretty good. All right, now we get into early afternoon, some of that instability firing up. Okay, 1 or 2 strays here or there. Then we get to the evening. We're talking post-sunset, developing line of showers and storms that we'll have to watch pushing through there. Some of them could be on the low-end gusty side. Not going to rule that out. Maybe a low-end severe end risk, a marginal risk at that. That's pretty typical, though, for most summer days, just with that instability. Tomorrow afternoon, much more of the same. A couple isolated cells here and there. And as we head into the weekend, it's actually going to trend a little drier. We've got a heat dome that's basically kind of building in. Still some daily chances for pop-up rain and storms. But you'll notice in the extended forecast overall, they're keeping a lower profile through the weekend and early next week. Remember, I alluded to those hotter temperatures. Well, here they are, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. These, Kim, even Thursday, going to lump that in there. These could be the ones that trigger heat advisories, mind you. You may not necessarily see them tagged as First Alert weather days, mind you, but we got plenty of hot days like this. So you got to take those heat-related precautions ahead of time, staying hydrated, check in on the elderly. Always important to do this time of year. Back to you.
All right, Gabe, thank you.